Welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for hanging with me on this Sunday. So a chatterbait, great submergent vegetation bait. If you have hydrilla, milfoil, coontail, or eelgrass, you understand how good of a numbers bait, a big fish bait, and basically the bait you're gonna start with anytime you're fishing around that type of cover. But on lakes that don't have any cover, it is still really strong bait. Now it's completely different. It doesn't catch the numbers that it does on grass lakes, but the size is an improvement in my opinion. So I'm gonna go into the types of conditions you wanna fish it and basically what I'm gonna use it, how I'm gonna use it, where I'm gonna use it on those lakes that don't have grass. But first we gotta talk about the grass because I think that's gonna help you understand what this bait does on lakes without grass. Because if you're getting videos from people that just throw it in grass, it's a completely different thing. So I'm gonna kind of try to show you all those differences between the two. But let's start with the grass. So it's the first bait I pick up with in the grass because it is so easy to fish in the grass. So if I was gonna talk about a chatterbait versus a crankbait, fishing it around submergent vegetation, I would say the difficulty level of a chatterbait is like a 4 or 5, and a crankbait is like a 10. Now, most days you don't need the crankbait. The chatterbait will be enough, catches quality, catches numbers, everything that you need. Now, there are a few anomalies in there where a crankbait will outperform a chatterbait big time. Super frigid water. Lakes are getting immense fishing pressure where you know everyone's throwing a chatterbait. Maybe a high sun, not enough wind, the crankbait will outperform. So I do keep a crankbait tied on anytime I'm in the grass, and I am ready to go throw that because I know it is a better bait. Now, the downside of that, it's a lot harder to learn. So if you don't have the grass fisheries to learn on, this could take you years, if not decades, to be a good cranker in the grass and make it effective, make it more effective than a chatterbait, because a lot of times you're just gonna reel that crankbait into the grass and it's not gonna be more effective than that chatterbait. Even on those situations that I'm talking about where you may catch 5 to 1 on a crankbait versus a chatterbait, if you're not doing it correctly, that 5 to 1 number is not gonna be what it is. So in the grass, numbers, big fish, in almost in all conditions. Now, when you get out of the grass, I am strictly big fish. And on lakes that don't have cover, you know, you may have some trees, but they're all in a foot of water up on the bank. You're not really fishing that bait, banging it into cover. You're just kind of throwing it around. There are a couple water clarities that play a lot better than the other ones. So anytime I'm in super gin clear water with the chatterbait, it is a first thing in the morning, really cloudy, low light condition thing. And you'll see that Lake Hartwell, Lake Cayuga, you can catch them the first hour and then it goes away. So if you have really clear water, strictly low light. Now, a chatterbait, unlike a crankbait, fishing it around steep rocky banks still works. Chatterbait still catches them in those situations, but it's a lot harder to keep that bait. So I caught them sometimes on steep rocky banks, but I think you need clouds. You need those fish pulled up off the bottom. If they're really sucked down to the bottom, a crankbait, significantly a better bait than a chatterbait. Really hard on a steep 45-degree angle bank to keep that chatterbait close to the bottom. Designed for flats, not for the steep banks. Can you catch them on steep banks? Yes, but again, designed for flats. So those rocky, steeper, clearer lakes, catches them, and it's something the fish don't see a whole lot, but man, you got to know what you're doing to catch fish like that. Now, on stained fisheries, this bait shines, especially in the pre-spawn. So if you have that tea stain or that green stained water, you are gonna need to throw a chatterbait on lakes that don't have any cover. And I don't catch a whole lot of fish on it. So I think when you compare it to catching them in grass, you're like, man, I should be catching those 2-pounders, those 1.5-pounders. Doesn't really happen like that for me. It is strictly big fish. So if you think you're gonna go catch a bunch on it, not the way it usually goes down on lakes without cover. But again, I would put it almost in like the category of a lipless crankbait. You know, it's more so for big fish. I'm not getting all those extra bites that I get when the bait deflects or you know, rips out of the grass and flutters back into the grass, and it really entices those fish to kind of get out of the grass and bite it. You're just kind of putting it in front of them, and that's why you need the low light, because it has great vibration. The silhouette of the bait with it shaking and moving, very good, but also When you stop doing that, the fish can get a really good look at it. It's not the most realistic looking bait. So those are the big differences that I've seen between the two. Big fish, think big fish, and not very many of them. When you get in lakes that don't have any cover, lakes that have grass, you can catch your numbers. It's easy to throw and big fish. So try a chatterbait. If you have a lake without cover, you will be impressed. Good luck to you guys, and I'll see you on the water.